Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and in this video, we're going to be looking at FabFilter Timeless 3 for the first time. So in this video, we're going to be covering the new features, the GUI, and how basically FabFilter has rechanged the workflow within Timeless 2 to Timeless 3. So I'm going to show you guys some little tricks and tips for Timeless 3. And in the next videos, the next two videos we're going to have, I'm going to be going more in depth with the new features that FabFilter added to Timeless 3. All right, so without further ado, let's check out the demo track that I made. So let's make this tiny, and let's also make my head smaller. And voila, let's hop over to the beginning of the track. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go over the track with the Timeless 3 on, and then we're going to look at a section with all of them turned off, so you can see how much of an impact Timeless 3 does to this track. So let's listen to it. Okay, so that's the demo I made for FabFilter Timeless 3. By the way, I've had this plugin probably like 3 days, so I'm pretty much used to it now. It took me 20 minutes to get, situated with it, how it had changed from FabFilter Timeless 2. But yeah, it's really, really cool. Let's go ahead and turn off all those timelesses so you guys can hear the difference in the track. And let's take off the ones on the drum kit, and you can see here I have two timelesses. So one of them is a delay and the other one is a reverb, and I'm gonna cover both of them. Yeah, let's take off those ones, and then we have the ones on the piano, which completely change the way the piano sounds, and I'll show you as well. Take this off there, and as well, and I think we should be good now. Let's take a listen to the track starting from right here before the little snare hi-hat roll. Okay, enough of that. Let's throw in the effects again. Let's check out the after. So yeah, it's quite a huge difference. Basically, half the track is Timeless 3 itself, and the effect that the delay has, how it modulates between different pitches as the delays are feeding back, and also the drums, as you heard. I even wouldn't have had these little effects right here. Those were created via Timeless. So actually, I should have taken these off when I was playing you guys the track without the Timeless. So essentially, what we're able to do is similar to Saturn II, where I can have a ton of modulation, but if I don't want to, I can hide it and have a very simple delay, as you heard when it comes to the pluck in the drop. Pretty standard delay. There is some modulation going on here every now and then, but it is much more basic than what I did on the drums to get these effects that I have here. Let me show you. So the drums. So all these, it almost sounds like a reversed hit, almost like if you put a growth speed on the instrument. But because we're playing with delay, we can make these cool steer width effects, flangers, and things that I could not do with such a effects plugin like growth speed. So this is really cool. I could also make twangy things, and I'll show you guys more in the next videos. But for this one, we're going to go over the GUI. So let's focus in on the smaller instruments like more simple instruments like the piano. And we're going to look at from the beginning of the track where you have this nice little keyboard sequence. And I'm going to turn off the reverb because it's kind of cheating. So I'm going to turn off the reverb, and let's hop over to Timeless 3 right here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy and paste it so I don't lose that preset. And we're going to start off from a clean one. All right. Clean. All right. And let's make this large. So from the get-go, you can see on the left-hand side, I have my taps. So if I have them synced right here, I can set them to be 1/8 note. I have to make sure the delay offset is to 100%. So then that way, we're at the 1/8 note. If I want to change that, I can hit right here, and let's do quarter note. See how that one doesn't really fit for that rhythm? So we can make sure that we can use one that does fit. And now we can control how much feedback we have right here. And our mix knob is over here. So if I felt like that was too much delay, I could bring it down right here. Or I can say, hey, I want way more delay than that. And you can see here how now this first tap, which is the original input signal, is now quieter than the second tap because we have the mix set at 62. Let's make this more extreme. See that? 79%, right? And we go to 100, we no longer hear the original signal. So you can already start seeing how complex you can be with just 3 basic controls. However, we have all these other sets of controls that are available to us with a simple click, like the drive. Now check this out. See that? So I clicked it right here in the center to activate it, and then pulled up the knob. Without pressing that knob, nothing happens. So then what I could do is sync this to MIDI and turn this on and off with the performance controller. And whatnot. Let's check out the lo-fi as well. That is really, really cool. That's amazing. Tell me how many delay plugins you know that have a built-in distortion and a lo-fi effect. This is really, really cool. We also have diffusion. And this is really cool to create these delay effects. As you can hear, if we make the feedback even longer, we get a very, very long reverb. Now, let's make this free, so we're free of delays, and of syncing, and I'll make this a lot shorter. And you can hear how as I push the delay up or down, I'm going to start creating like these flanger effects. Now, if I have this a bit longer, and now if I change the perception of the left and the right channel to be in different syncs, let me show you. Let's put this to 1/4 note, and then we'll put this shorter. We'll do it 50%. Somewhere around here. I can also double click here and type in the value. So I can type in 50 right here. So now the time pan would be different on the left channel to the right channel. Right? Cool. Now, we could also do this with ping pong effects. Let's say I just want to keep everything nice and simple, and I set the ping pong to go left and right. Really straightforward. I could also switch from the right to the left. So basically just changes if it starts on the right channel or on the left channel. Very, very cool. There's also a hold. Check this out. Let's remove the ping pong off and go back to what we had earlier, where I had the channels one different from the other one. Right? Let's set this to 16th note. All right, and I'm gonna freeze this. Check this out. See, now, until I unfreeze it, this will not stop playing. Make sure the feedback is down. So we can create these cool ambiances with this snow button or the hold, right? Now let's go over to dynamics. Dynamics is really, really cool because similar to the distortion, we're affecting the dynamics or the amplitude of the signal. So I'm going to set it to be around 50% mix. And I'm going to set the pan to be the same. And check this out. Now you hear how those slaps coming in are a bit louder than they were before. All right, let's make this 100% wet. And now that's very, very obvious. So that's a cool way to also mess around with dynamics. And the cool thing is if you start to use all these parameters together, you get really, really crazy effects. And if I leave the lo-fi quite a bit high, and put the feedback high as well, you can hear how the sample rate is changing. So that's really, really cool. It's a sample rate and the bit rate, so that you gotta keep that in mind. So now let's look at the pitch. And after this, we're gonna get into the filters. Of course, if we're talking about FabFilter, we're gonna talk about filters. So hold up a second, let's finish talking about these little effects over here. So let's turn off these guys, and then we're gonna turn on the pitch. And now this is gonna do some pitch shifting to the input signal or to the output or output delay signal, depending on what we choose. So we can choose to be inside feedback or outside feedback, right? If you see this to be if you see the circle to be regular circle, the pitching is before the feedback. If I do this outside of the feedback, we get a different result. It almost pitches up, like it goes like how do you say it steps up. Yeah, actually I could see someone like Flume really using this for like the type of music he makes, where it's like bass music, but then he also has like these nice glitches on top. So this would be very, very cool for someone like him. And of course, if we make the offset a bit longer, really, really cool. We could also make this pitch down. That's very, very nice. Let's bring this back to the center. We have this option here where we can offset the left and the right channel pitch-wise from each other. So check this out. That's really, really cool. So essentially what we're doing is we're saying, hey, right now, I want the left channel to be pitched down low, 1 octave. And inversely, we're going to pitch up the right channel now, 1 octave higher. So now our original signal, if we set the mix to 0%, is going to be the only one that comes in the original pitch. Right? Now our left channel and our right channel are being pitched one octave below original signal and one octave higher than original signal. So essentially there's 2 octaves now in difference between this pitch and the other pitch if you bring this all the way down. So we can create different sequences here. Let's double click on this, set this to -7. Turn it on. So if you guys are into microtonal music, I'm pretty sure you guys can get a lot of use out of this. Very, very crazy. So let's put this to work. Let's make this, but very, very tiny. So now you get this nice wide effect. Now, the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to offset by 150%. You could also press D and get that result. And let's do 1/4 note. And as you can hear, the delay keeps, doing the tape thing. If I don't want to have that a tape effect, I can remove it right here to do time stretch. Now, whatever I do, it'll keep that pitch, all right? So if you want to have tape emulation, use a tape. If you're going to be using Timeless 3, I think you're going to be using a lot of tape. But the stretch feature is really cool here. It also sounds very, very clean. All right? So give it a shot, see what you like for your specific sound. Now, if as I was saying, if I go back and use some of these effects, now here's another trick to make your sound even wider. You can go to the feedback and change the polarity of the left to the right channel. Check this out. Now, if these were coming in at the same time, it's very obvious how this basically makes it seem that like what you're putting in or what you're getting out of the Timeless is even wider. So I would give it a shot, see if it works for your type of sound. Let's go back. By the way, there's a reverse button over here. I keep forgetting to mention it. So we can reverse enough times and return back to the settings we had before. Very, very FabFilter. I mean, who else does it? And, we also have an A and a B section right here, right? So we can hop between a copy of it. We make a copy of this one. We make a copy of it. Go to B, make some changes. And we can check between them. If we want to pick one that we like better for the certain track we're affecting, right? There's also a stereo to mono with control. So you can control how wide your signal is or how narrow it's going to become, right? So you can choose to be a little bit less wide, but then pan the signal maybe more to the right. And now, for example, if you have guitars pan to your left channel, you can put the guitar delay just on the left channel and this synth just on the right. so you can create more space within your mix. So those are some cool tricks you can do with delay, and the new effects that FabFilter added. Let's turn these off for a second, and now let's look at the filter. Now, why did I leave the filter until the end? Well, because we're going to talk about the modulations right now. And the filter, it's very, very cool, but almost every delay now has a filter. So these filters become not only special because they sound very good because they're FabFilter filters, but they are probably the best when it comes to modulation because they're using the modulation from all the other FabFilter Creative Bundle plugins. So you have the same modulation you have in Volcano, Saturn II. So you have way more modulation possibilities than you have in all the other delays. So let's take a look at the modulation right here. And actually, let's just turn on the filter first. Let's pump the feedback up. And you can hear how as the delay keeps on playing back, it shortens and shortens and shortens. It reduces the position of the filter, right? It becomes darker over time. That's very, very typical of filters. We can make one that's a bit wider, so it's a bit smoother. Let's make the feedback even longer. You can hear that very obviously now. And you can see it here visually as well, how that low end is still playing back over and over. Bring this down and it's gone. So what can we do now? We can add modulation sources. For example, there's LFOs, and these are pretty easy to understand. There's free modes, but then there's also time settings. So let's over and put this right here. And now you can see how the LFO is affecting the filter. We can speed this up. We could also speed this up right here. So we don't have to necessarily change our timing. We could also hop over right here to have dotted or triplets. Same thing right here, triplets, dotted. So this is really cool. There's also a glide, so you can make this more like a square wave, and we can control what type of curvature we have right here. We want to have a linear, square, and a few others. Okay, so we have that right here. We have the possibility of changing or adding more steps. All right, let's check out how that sounds. Let's say we wanted to do the opposite. We don't necessarily have to change the way these LFOs are positioned to do the opposite movement. As you see, it's pretty tedious if we were going to get the opposite effect. What you could simply do is click on the envelope or the LFO destination modulation. You can invert it. We can also access these modulations by clicking the little blue button right there, flipping them over. Now, because this is so low, I can drag it up a little bit higher. Let's add a diffusion. So now we're getting closer to the effect I had originally when I started the video. You can hear the modulation right there, and if we hop over to it, we see that I'm actually modulating the bottom band. And this is probably preset. Yeah, this was one of the preset basic vintage analog delay, but I think I added or tweaked some of this. I'm also pretty sure I added more of this effects here. Actually, we can verify that. Let's copy this. And so over to the B part, and then let's go to medium. You see, I did add some more effects here. I'll go back to this one. So I basically changed the wet level to change the amplitude of it. I also added some more of the drive lo-fi effects, and I linked them to some of the parameters here. So this is a very complex patch, but it doesn't feel like it because the sound comes out, how do you say, quite precise, even though it doesn't sound necessarily digital. And the truth is, to get an effect like this with basically any other set of instruments, I would have had to grab a reverb, a distortion unit, a sample rate reducer and a bit rate reducer, and a compressor to make all this happen. So fortunately, all that is built into FabFilter Timeless 3 now, so I don't have to worry about that. On top of that, I have the modulation sources, like I said, that I can add. And I'll talk about these more in the following videos because we already hit the 32-minute mark. But yeah, we have generators for the envelopes. We have MIDI source modulations. We have XY pad controllers. So I'm going to talk about these more in the following video. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy this first look at FabFilter Timeless 3. And I hope you guys stay tuned for the upcoming 2 videos that we're going to have on the channel. So please like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave any comments or questions down below, and I can hopefully answer them in the next videos. Also, make sure you guys subscribe and ring the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos we have here at Music Marketing. Once again, I'm Kevin Ochoa with Music Marketing TV, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.